You know him as the fun-loving cake boss, but behind the frosting and fame, Buddy Valastro has faced pain most of us never knew about. In a split second, everything changed. A horrific accident left Buddy's dominant hand crushed, threatening not just his career but his entire identity as a baker. For a man who built an empire with his hands, the injury was more than physical. It was emotional, spiritual, and deeply personal. And what followed? Months of surgeries, tears, and a fight to reclaim his life and legacy, all hidden behind the scenes of reality TV. On September 20th, 2020, Buddy Valastro, the world-renowned star of Cake Boss, faced an unimaginable challenge that would change his life forever. What seemed like a normal day at home took a terrifying turn when an accident in his personal bowling alley left him seriously injured. While enjoying a game, a malfunction in the bowling pin setter led to a horrific accident. A metal rod impaled his right hand 3 times, wedging itself between his ring and middle fingers. Can you imagine the pain and fear he must have felt in that moment? But what's even more remarkable is how Buddy managed to survive. Stuck in an agonizing situation with no way to escape, Buddy's sons, Buddy Jr. and Marco, showed incredible resourcefulness and bravery. They used a reciprocating saw to cut through the metal rod, ultimately rescuing their father from the terrifying trap. This quick-thinking action saved Buddy's life, but the damage was severe. The injury required not 1, not 2, but 5 surgeries to repair the extensive damage to his hand. It wasn't just the physical trauma that left Buddy shaken, but the emotional toll. For someone whose career relies on dexterity, precision, and the ability to decorate cakes with a level of artistry that has captivated millions, the question lingered. Would he ever be able to return to the kitchen? Would his beloved career in cake decorating ever be the same? The recovery process was grueling, filled with countless hours of physical therapy, pain, and uncertainty. But despite these hurdles, Buddy remained determined to overcome the odds. His journey wasn't just about regaining the use of his hand, it was about reclaiming his passion, his livelihood, and ultimately his confidence. Could someone so publicly admired for his craft really return to the kitchen after such a devastating injury? How did he find the strength to continue? What role did his family, especially his sons, play in his recovery? Years after the accident, Buddy shared that the 5th surgery had been a huge success. Yet his journey to recovery continues to be a testament to his resilience. How did his accident impact his family dynamics and his approach to life and work? How did this unexpected challenge reshape his perspective on what truly matters? In 2017, Buddy Valastro, the famous baker known for his starring role in Cake Boss, faced an emotional turning point when his beloved mother, Mary Valastro, passed away after a long and grueling battle with ALS. For years, the disease had been slowly stripping away the vibrant and loving woman that Buddy had known all his life. Mary, who had always been a cornerstone of his family and his business, gradually lost the personality that once filled every room with warmth and energy. How do you cope with the loss of someone who was so integral to your world? Buddy's journey through grief is complicated, and his reflection on his mother's death reveals a raw truth that many can relate to. The feeling of mixed emotions when a loved one passes after a prolonged illness. While the pain of losing her was profound, there was also a sense of relief. "I'm glad she's not suffering anymore," Buddy shared in an emotional interview. But is it possible to feel relief when someone so important to you is gone? This complex blend of grief and release is something that few can truly understand unless they've been through it themselves. For Buddy, this loss was not just personal, it was professional too. His mother had been a constant presence in his career, always supporting him, cheering him on, and offering guidance. The bond they shared went beyond the kitchen and into the heart of everything he created, both as a person and a baker. How do you go on when the person who helped shape you is no longer there? What happens to a business when its heart and soul is no longer part of it? As Buddy reflected on her passing, he acknowledged how difficult it was to let go of the mother he once knew. Despite the sadness, he also recognized that Mary had been freed from the suffering she had endured for so long. But can you ever truly be at peace with the loss of someone who meant so much? His vulnerability in discussing his grief and the impact of ALS is a poignant reminder of how devastating this disease can be, not just for the individual, but for everyone who loves them. At the tender age of 17, Buddy Valastro's life was irrevocably altered by a tragedy that would forever shape the course of his future. Just 3 weeks after being diagnosed with lung cancer, his father, the beloved patriarch of the Valastro family, passed away, leaving Buddy to grapple with an overwhelming sense of loss. The suddenness of his father's death was not only a personal blow, but it also forced him to step into a role of leadership at an incredibly young age. How does one cope with such a seismic shift in the fabric of their life? How does a teenager who's only beginning to understand the world handle the pressure of keeping a family business afloat amidst the chaos of grief? For Buddy, this loss was not just about saying goodbye to a father, it was about growing up overnight. The bakery, a cornerstone of the Valastro family, now rested on his shoulders. With his father's absence, Buddy found himself navigating the intricacies of running the family business, no longer just the son, but the manager. This responsibility was not easy, especially given the emotional turmoil he was enduring. The question arises, how does one continue to carry out daily tasks, make crucial decisions, and maintain a sense of normalcy when the very foundation of one's world has crumbled? But in the midst of this grief, something remarkable happened. Buddy's relationship with his mother, who was also deeply affected by the loss, grew stronger. The bond between them became a source of strength, one that would help them endure the hardships that lay ahead. Have you ever wondered how people manage to rebuild after the worst of losses? What does it take to move forward when everything seems impossible? This shared pain, coupled with a collective resolve, eventually helped them not only survive but thrive. And as Buddy reflects on these challenging times, one question lingers. How did this tragedy shape him into the person he is today, both in his career and in his personal life? The answers, it seems, are woven into the very fabric of the bakery's success and perhaps into the heart of the man himself. The physical pain Buddy Valastro experienced after his accident was truly excruciating. Imagine the searing agony that comes from a life-altering injury. But what about the emotional toll? For Buddy, that was just as overwhelming. His hands, the very instruments of his craft, were injured in a way that left him wondering, would he ever be able to decorate cakes again? His lifelong passion for cake decorating, a skill he had perfected since childhood, suddenly seemed like something he might lose forever. How do you cope when the thing that defines you, the thing you've dedicated your entire life to, is taken away in an instant? The thought of not being able to work again was simply devastating. Buddy wasn't just facing a physical injury, he was grappling with the uncertainty of his future. What would it mean for him professionally, for his family, for the bakery empire he had built? Would he still be the cake boss people admired? Or would he be forced to step away from the very thing that brought him joy and success? However, as the days passed and the pain began to ebb, Buddy found something within himself that pushed him forward: resilience. With the unwavering support of his family, his medical team, and the fans who had followed his journey for years, Buddy embarked on a remarkable recovery journey. It wasn't just about physical healing, it was about reclaiming his identity, his career, and his love for his craft. But here's the real question. How does one recover from an injury so severe that it threatens your livelihood? What does it take, both physically and emotionally, to rebuild not just your body, but your life? Buddy's story of recovery is one of grit, determination, and the unshakable belief that with enough support, anything is possible. How far would you go to get back what you've lost? Would you have the same courage to face the challenge head-on? During Buddy Valastro's lengthy and arduous recovery, his family's role was nothing short of pivotal. But have you ever wondered what it truly takes for someone to recover from a life-altering injury? For Valastro, the renowned star of Cake Boss, it wasn't just about physical healing, it was about the powerful support system he had at home. His wife Lisa and their 4 children, Sophia, Buddy Jr., Marco, and Carlo, became more than just family. They became his lifeline. But what exactly does it mean to have a family who goes above and beyond in such a challenging time? According to Buddy, it meant everything. The Valastro family stepped in to help with his daily activities. Tasks he had once done effortlessly now became challenges. Simple actions like getting dressed or preparing a meal were difficult, yet their support ensured that these daily hurdles were overcome. Yet how did this constant support impact his recovery? For Buddy, it was a game changer. He often spoke about the emotional encouragement he received from them, which seemed to fuel his physical progress. Their presence was a reminder of what he was fighting for, his passion for his family and his work. It's fascinating to think about how essential emotional strength is to healing. Could it be that sometimes emotional and psychological recovery are just as important as physical rehabilitation? In fact, Buddy Valastro expressed immense gratitude, repeatedly stating that the support from his family made all the difference in his journey to recovery. So, what would it have been like without them? Would he have been able to make the incredible recovery that he did? These are the questions that make you appreciate the unseen heroes in life. The ones who don't wear capes but offer something perhaps even more valuable: unconditional love and support. Over the course of several surgeries and months of grueling physical therapy, Buddy Valastro, the beloved star of Cake Boss, faced an incredible battle to regain the use of his right hand. A hand that had once been a tool for creating some of the most intricate and stunning cakes ever seen. How does a person, renowned for their artistic skill and precision, cope when that very tool is injured in a freak accident? In 2020, Valastro experienced a terrifying incident while bowling, where his hand became impaled on a metal rod. This shocking event left him with severe damage to his dominant hand, and many wondered if he would ever be able to return to his craft. Through an unwavering determination and the support of a dedicated team of doctors and therapists, Valastro embarked on a long road to recovery. But what does it truly take to reclaim something as fundamental as the use of your hands after such a traumatic injury? Through countless surgeries, including one to rebuild his hand tendon structure, and weeks of intense rehabilitation, Valastro's strength and mobility gradually returned. The question that many people asked was, would he ever be able to decorate cakes with the same skill he had before the accident? Would his career, built on the intricate art of cake design, be forever changed? Despite the monumental obstacles, Valastro remained resilient and focused on what he could do, rather than what he couldn't. "I've got about 95% of my hands function back," he shared with his fans, offering hope to those who had been following his journey closely. But how does one continue to push forward when faced with such adversity? When the dream you've built is hanging by a thread? For Valastro, the answer was clear: optimism, hard work, and a relentless focus on progress. Rather than focusing on the setbacks, he celebrated the small victories, each day getting closer to reclaiming the artistry that made him a household name. What's next for Valastro now that he's reached this significant milestone? Will he create a cake masterpiece that will forever symbolize his incredible recovery? Only time will tell. The shocking accident that nearly ended Buddy Valastro's career as a cake decorator is a tale of determination and resilience against all odds. Imagine being known for your skillful, intricate cake designs. Each delicate swirl, each perfectly placed decoration requiring precision, only for a freak accident to threaten it all. In September 2020, Buddy's right hand, the very hand responsible for his artistic creations, was severely injured in a bowling accident. The injury was so intense that it almost seemed like the end of his career. But what happened next is a story of remarkable strength and perseverance. How does someone bounce back from such a debilitating injury, especially when their livelihood depends on the very thing that was damaged? With his career in jeopardy, one would think that Buddy might have been tempted to give up. Instead, the opposite happened. Buddy Valastro's return to work wasn't just about reclaiming his passion for cake decorating. It was about reclaiming his identity. How did he manage to keep pushing forward despite the physical and emotional hurdles? The answer lies in the unwavering support of his family and fans, combined with his unrelenting spirit. Together, they formed a powerful force that helped him heal both physically and mentally. What is even more inspiring is how Buddy chose to embrace the challenge rather than shy away from it. He didn't just return to the bakery, he jumped back into television projects, proving that no matter how daunting the challenge, there's always room for a comeback. But here's the big question: can anyone really overcome such a seemingly insurmountable obstacle? Or is it all about timing, support, and sheer willpower? In the critical moments following the freak bowling accident that nearly cost Buddy Valastro his hand, something extraordinary happened. As the renowned Cake Boss star found himself trapped by the malfunctioning pin setter, a machine that was designed to reset pins but became his worst nightmare, the situation looked bleak. What was meant to be a routine moment of leisure turned into a life-altering crisis. But in the midst of chaos, Valastro's sons, Marco and Carlo, emerged as unsung heroes. Their response to the situation was nothing short of remarkable. What did they do that made all the difference? In a split second, while many would have panicked, Valastro's sons demonstrated an incredible level of composure and resourcefulness. How did they manage to think clearly under such immense pressure? As their father screamed in pain, Marco and Carlo quickly assessed the situation and realized the gravity of the accident. They didn't hesitate for a moment. In those precious seconds, they worked together, combining their strength and quick thinking to free him from the dangerous grip of the pin setter. This is where the true essence of their bravery became evident. Imagine being in that position. Would you have been able to keep calm? Would you have had the presence of mind to act swiftly and decisively as Marco and Carlo did? Their actions not only saved Buddy's hand, but likely prevented even more severe damage or worse. Valastro himself has often expressed a deep sense of pride and gratitude toward his sons, calling their response nothing short of heroic. But it's not just about their actions. It's about what those moments revealed about family bonds and love. Buddy Valastro, visibly emotional as he reflects on that life-altering event, has never hesitated to thank his sons. He credits their bravery as a crucial part of his recovery. "Without them, I wouldn't be here today," he said, acknowledging that it was their support that helped him through one of the darkest times in his life. But what does it mean to truly be tested in a crisis? Can we ever fully prepare for such unforeseen moments? And what do we learn about ourselves and our loved ones when we face the most terrifying of circumstances together? Despite facing what seemed like insurmountable challenges, Buddy Valastro, the beloved star of Cake Boss, made a triumphant and inspiring return to television. His journey back to the screen wasn't just about reclaiming his spot in the spotlight. It was a powerful testament to the strength of the human spirit. After a horrific hand injury that threatened his career and his ability to create the elaborate cakes he is famous for, many wondered if Valastro could ever return to his former glory. Could he overcome such a devastating setback, or would his baking days be over forever? However, in a move that surprised many, Valastro didn't just return. He came back stronger. He resumed filming Buddy vs. Duff, a high-stakes baking competition series that pits him against his good friend Duff Goldman. This wasn't merely a return to his usual role, it was a statement that nothing, not even a life-changing injury, could extinguish his passion for baking. How did he manage to get back on his feet, quite literally, after such a harrowing experience? What drove him to keep pushing forward when it seemed like all odds were stacked against him? Valastro's return to the show marked more than just a professional comeback. It was an emotional one, too. His participation in Buddy vs. Duff was not only a showcase of his incredible skills in the kitchen, but also a beacon of hope for others who are facing their own struggles. People who were battling personal hardships saw in Buddy's story a reflection of their own resilience. Can one man's determination really serve as the inspiration for millions? It seems so, as his journey offered hope and motivation to those who thought they could never recover from their own setbacks. What is it about Buddy Valastro's perseverance that captivates us so deeply? Is it his unwavering commitment to his craft, his refusal to give up, or the way he uses his platform to inspire others to rise above their challenges? His story is a reminder that no matter how tough life gets, there is always a path forward, even when it seems impossible. Buddy Valastro's journey through personal and professional tragedies is nothing short of remarkable, offering a profound glimpse into the power of resilience. Have you ever wondered what it takes to bounce back from the kind of challenges that seem insurmountable? Buddy Valastro, the famous baker and star of Cake Boss, has faced more than his fair share of adversity. Yet his ability to not only survive but thrive in the face of such hardship speaks volumes about the strength of the human spirit.